Okay, it is January the 11th, 2021, and I have three stocks here on the main screen. I got two first days. One is a second day stock. GOVX looks like the best one of them all, but they all have something conflicting. GOVX had a previous run up, as you can tell here, and it looks like it's going to actually play off as resistance, at least for now. I don't like that, especially how it traded a lot of volume that day as well as this day. Lots of potential people selling into this spike today, which would be bad for it. But we'll keep watching 5 minutes till the market open. TRXC is another first day, although this one kind of broke out of a range, so it's not really a first day, but it's like, you know, a nice big day, nice breakout over the range. They're just a bit conflicting. This one, you know, this one could have people selling into the spike here as well. So nothing really that I want to trade per se. I don't see any super nice patterns. LMFA is also going to be the only second day stock I have on this screen. Just a bit conflicting. Nothing that I really want to trade right now. Nothing secure. BNGO actually did a head and shoulders, but I didn't want to short this pre-market. It dropped only 15 cents, so yeah, it was definitely good not to mess with that. You know, trying to short a stock pre-market with only 1 day trade available on E-Trade, I'd rather use it for something else. I'm also watching CYDY for number 5. FT. I'm also watching if maybe it can do a spike towards green. Well, that would be pretty impressive. Maybe just some kind of a short, but really not gonna be interested in shorting, especially this stock unless it does an absolutely beautiful setup. So nothing clear that I'm looking at that I want to immediately trade. GOVX has the best chart, I think. Not really, because of that other day that it traded, but I'll definitely keep looking. Oh, and the markets are overall down almost 1%, so that might have an effect on these stocks today. Okay, it's 9:34 a.m. LMFA had a slight dip to a level of support here. The overall range is about 310 from this range here. Although this thing doesn't seem like it's holding too well. I don't feel bad if I miss this, if it does a nice run up, just because it does it so quickly in like 1 minute. TRXC had another dip too, but I didn't find a clear level of support to risk off of. Not really anything here. Maybe if I went back further. Never mind. That doesn't look like something I can look after. Maybe not an exact you know, support hold, but maybe if it were to downtrend and maybe it's trying to hold this level here at 160, that could be possible. But the overall markets are down, which isn't good, although it's looking a little better. I just have to take that into consideration. All these stocks are downtrending. GOVX as well. Not a clear level of support, I think, here, unless you want to count that previous day, which I kind of don't. I don't see any clear setups right now, so I'm not gonna trade anything. Although BNGO did do that head and shoulders, which is impressive. It had like a follow-up bounce, so you know, here's a shoulder, right? It drops, but then it does it again. This is interesting to know. I haven't really seen any of these, or at least, you know, remembered it consciously. Just a nice drop from here, although a bit unexpected right there, a bit spooky right there. But head and shoulders, it eventually worked out. Wasn't expecting it to do this. You know, when I saw this downtrend here pre-market, I said, all right, well, that's not really the best pattern. Did one more spike, couldn't break the shoulder level. Not a perfect shoulder, but something great to look at. No clear setups right now. Okay, it's 9:43 a.m. LMFA did do like its first higher low setup. I'm just being very cautious with going long today just because of the fact that all these stocks have been dropping. The overall markets, are down. It's not looking too good. If I were to SPY, it's let's go to 14 days. Just not a very nice. It could have completely thrown off this uptrending that it was doing recently. I remember this big red day, so I'm just taking that into consideration. It did put up, it's actually copying SPY pretty well. It did put up its first higher low, not higher low, first lower high. Higher low. Yeah, it's a higher low. First higher low setup, so we'll just keep watching. TRXC did do that dip. Wasn't perfect. Very big wick. I don't feel bad for missing this one. Didn't even move that much. Again, just very cautious because of how all the stocks are. GOVX is fading. Really probably just because of that previous day. Just a lot of bag holders that are now profitable. Or maybe just people holding from those previous days now dumping their shares. Again, not interested in trading this. I'll probably remove it soon. I just don't see any clear patterns here that I want to trade. Probably should move Bingo over here to the main screen. Just an impressive head and shoulders. It was not perfect at all. Not for a second. Big wick. 592 to 36. Now it's having a nice uptrend, and it did have support at a 14-day chart. It did have the support from right here, but again, these are kind of scary because you never know. Maybe it's the support here, maybe at 5. So that's a bit of an imperfect thing, and then it spiked very quickly with one candle. So really no clear setups right now. I'll definitely keep looking and also very cautious. I only have one day trade with E-Trade, so if I trade it, I want to trade it on something that doesn't have to work out, but at least a good setup in theory. Okay, it's 9:50 a.m. ALPP potential number 5 setup. I've learned from this stock that its bounces are not perfect. Now maybe this one will actually be perfect. In that case, that's fine. I'm playing the odds right here. Would like to see it drop more, maybe towards 250, but that might be where it's trying to base itself at 250. It's likely possible to hold 250. I don't mind missing this one just because this one doesn't really do number 5s nicely, and for that reason, if it starts uptrending, I would wait for it to dip again and then make sure that it holds the same level like it did previously. So I'll just keep watching this. No true setups right now. I'll definitely keep looking at it. Okay, it's 9:54 a.m. I think the number 5 setup is back, at least with ALPP today. Not perfect because there would be like 1, 2, or 3 people on the ask, and people would just keep buying and it won't break out until it breaks past that level. Did a very nice spike, a bit of a short squeeze I think, or maybe just shorts covering very quickly in the 285s. Very impressive right here. Not too much range, 255 to 85, so that's 30 cents, roughly 10%. But it played out. I'll save a screenshot of this. Nice to see it work out. How the 250, which, if you could look back at a, 14-day chart, in theory, it was support, especially right here. So, pretty nice. It did a spike here. I don't feel bad missing this one because it's consistently failed to do proper number 5s. This is the first one that's actually profitable, yes, but it's the first one that actually did it very nicely. It didn't have like a fake out, unless you were to count this, but this one was pretty nice overall. This one worked out. Very happy to see number 5s are working, at least with this stock. We'll keep watching. Maybe I'll do it some other day. I'll take this into consideration, but not trading it. TRXC, nothing I want to trade. I mean, it did do, I guess it's high or low if you're basing it off of the wick. If not, a low or low. If you base it off of here, not really something I wanted to trade. Just because of the fact that this was extremely bearish. It could have just bounced towards 156 and head straight back down. I just didn't like it. But it looks like this one is doing nice. The SPY is recovering a little, so that could have an effect. A bit of a double bottom here. Nothing I really wanted to trade. I want to trade things with a lot more range, but it's not too bad. Maybe I could have considered it. GOVX, maybe an inverse head and shoulders, but it's not too clean. It would be 20 cents off the other shoulder, which means this could be resistance. So I'll definitely come back with an update. Just a nice number 5 here. I'm going to save a screenshot of this. If it does another number 5, I'll consider it more, just because this one seemed to work very nicely. It's the first really clean one. Alright, it's 10:10 a.m. GOVX, maybe. Potential inverse head and shoulders, although I would have liked it if it spiked much higher towards the 612s. So maybe it's not going to work out, so I'll just watch it in the background. TRXC, very nice uptrend. I'll make a small adjustment. Didn't like the fact that, yes, it's higher than the wick here, but I based it off of this level. So when it dropped lower than this level, it just didn't look too good to me. Especially at this time, all the stocks were dropping a lot, so I don't feel too bad for that. It's a nice adjustment. LMFA finally failed. This like dip buy thing at 280. What could it do? I mean, it could support there. I'm just not going to trade it. GOVX again, maybe inverse head and shoulders. ALPP, not really something you trade after the setup is done with number 5s. So I'll keep watching. This probably won't make an inverse head and shoulders. At least I would have liked it to have spiked higher if it does. Okay, it's 10:48 a.m. SIGL was mistaken for another stock or another company. Don't know if that other company has a stock, but this is a very funny, just a legit quotation mark day trader chart. Michael get shorted somewhere up here, and that was a pretty interesting to see. Tim Sykes went with a dip buy. I just wanted to trade that. That's maybe later on, but that's very interesting. I think I'm gonna call it off. 10:49 a.m. TRXC, maybe an inverse head and shoulders. It does show that it can spike. If it does that, I might be interested. I might change my mind. But as of now, I don't see that. It would have to spike towards the 180s for me to be interested in it. LMFA broke this level here from pre-market, which is pretty bearish. I'm not interested in it. Not interested in shorting it. The low is not too bad. I mean, if it breaks the day low, perhaps, but I don't know. It seems maybe I'll consider it. GOVX was watching for inverse head and shoulders. I actually missed it, so I started working on my business, and it also didn't really make a clean shoulder either. It's just curving action, but it's actually nice. I actually feel a little bad. I think I might have traded this. I just did not see it. Totally forgot about this stock. So yeah, and LMFA, probably not gonna trade anymore. This is, I did miss the TRXC thing here, but I don't feel bad because again, I was looking it off of here, not the wick, so that's just an adjustment I made. LMFA didn't really want to do any dip buys. Not even here did I want to do a dip buy. GOVX though, inverse head and shoulders. I do feel bad for missing this one. I'll consider maybe shorting LMFA, but I kind of don't. I mean, it did break the range here, but it could just put up a higher low after this. Yeah, I just feel salty missing GOVX, but that's my bad. I mean, it's not a clean inverse head and shoulders, but it was doing some nice curving action. Might have been faked out right here. But I could have tried. I did miss this one, but I don't feel too bad. It didn't seem too likely that it would do this. So I'm going to call it off right here. Pretty nice to see GOVX do this, although I mean maybe I'm just being salty, but generally it doesn't work out the way it did. Very impressive though. Alright, it is 11:05 a.m. TRXC did do the inverse head and shoulders. It kind of dipped a little lower than this shoulder, which I never like when the right shoulder is lower than the left shoulder. On top of that, it didn't spike really towards the 180s level. It had a wick towards 178, so because the shoulder was lower than here and the wick, you know, was the most it ever got to, getting towards 180, I didn't buy. It did spike from, I guess, the best case scenario 170 to 182. So that's a 12-cent move. Not gonna use a day trade on that. Still nice to see that it worked out. Just not a lot in terms of how much you can make. LMFA, just never really traded this. It cracked this level here. Traded. I guess it put up higher lows. Not too exact, but you know, nothing too bad. The clear setup really was TRXC. With the dip buy, now I made a small adjustment to consider this as a higher low off of a wick. Very nice spike. It did break the pre-market highs, although I want to trade that. And then yeah, the inverse head and shoulders here, that wasn't too perfect. GOVX, this is the one I'm more salty about. Just missing the inverse head and shoulders. Wasn't too perfect. Didn't really make a shoulder. Just, you know, has some curving action, but overall very nice setup. I didn't trade anything, but TRXC definitely learned from here. GOVX, you know, I have that rule that I just can't, you know, I shouldn't get off the markets until it's at least 1040 for a reason. Definitely missed out my entry right here. Pretty nice. I don't know how long I would have held. Maybe I would have gotten, you know, scared out anywhere in this action, but the point is to try. This was very much worth trying. TRXC, don't feel bad missing this one again, because you know I considered it off of the candles, not necessarily the wick. That's all I got. Overall, a good trading day. Glad to see this work out, even though it wasn't perfect. Wasn't gonna trade that. GOVX was just a nice setup here, as well as TRXC with the run up that it made today.